Okay, well, where to start, I guess. I guess we could start with the situation that made us move here into Florida in the first place. We were living in California. I was wrapping up school, got military assignment out here to Florida, and we had to make a quick decision to move across the country to a city that we've never seen before. So that's what started it. Never been in the area, did a little bit of Zillow research, had like an idea of where we would live logistically close to work for me, close to work for you, and had, I guess, a lineup. Flew out here for 48 hours and didn't come back until we owned a place. It's a fast trip.
Yeah, so we met Laurie through a mutual friend of Jeremy's. Like he said, 48 hours. We went around several areas in South Tampa, Palmacia, Riverside Heights, Tampa Heights. And it just wasn't quite what we were looking for. We decided whether it was location or proximity to work, or just the type of builds and the kind of community we were looking for. And Laurie quickly caught on to that after seeing a few houses, and we were just probably showed on our faces that it wasn't quite what we were looking for, and she switched gears completely. And the next day we were looking at houses that were just kind of more up our alley. We ended up landing in Hyde Park, and we really, really loved it out here.
The funny part is we started out, we did a phone call, I remember, and it was like basically an interview. And she was like, what are the things you're looking for? And I was like, new construction in this area, all these like checklists. And so we showed up and that's exactly what we saw. It was like new construction in the area. And so if I were to describe it, it'd be like very adaptable. Like immediately from us, I was like, oh gosh, this isn't quite what we were looking for, whether it felt too suburban, and we're used to living in the city and walkable to things. And so we felt pretty quickly that we were far away, and I don't think that was something that we had talked about, was like walkability. And so within, it had to be like hours after our first meeting, and a whole new list came out for the next day. And then the next day of watching and seeing was like much more, I guess, closer to what we were looking for. We ended up liking the Hyde Park area because of walkability, but we also saw out by Armature Works, which was also walkable. Awesome variety, awesome things to choose from. And we actually left Tampa settled. We hadn't figured anything out yet. And there was a couple that we had seen on that last list that we weren't able to get into, and we were just kind of like, oh boy, this is going to be tough. And I guess to describe our state, like we were moving within 2 months of that point. So we had to find a place, move, get new jobs, and it was a stressful time. Like there's a lot to go. We had a 1.5-year-old at the time, not even 2-year-old. So she was 2, and it's a challenging thing to move with a kid and try to find new jobs. And so essentially we said, Laurie, take the wheel. Let us know what you see. And then over the next, I'd say, couple weeks, we got like just these amazing listing walkthroughs. And so she essentially was walking through every new place she found, doing her own research on it. And I'm more of an analytical guy, so I'm looking at like numbers and things, which is important to me. For Pooja, she's like, I like the vibe and the flavor and the interior. And somehow Laurie was able to balance both of those things. And she found, I think, 3 major video walkthroughs, went through like in detail to a level that we could trust, and then we could have a conversation on like, are we gonna be paying too much for this? And that was the first stage. We ended up finding 3 that we liked, and then enter the negotiator that we learned to love. And she came in and just really drove a hard bargain. We feel like we got an insanely great deal. Ended up purchasing this place, sight unseen, and we love it. Like we walked in like a little bit like, okay, here we go. That was a big decision to purchase without seeing it, and it was really, really great. And we actually can't really imagine any of the places that we had thought we would want. But thanks to Laurie, we were able to find something that's really nice. And growing into an area that we didn't know if we would enjoy as much. We thought it would be a temporary place, but now we're really loving the neighbors, and like half the neighborhood came over on the first day to like welcome, and like, oh, you should come hang out, and oh, meet our kids and go to the park. So
like Jerry mentioned, we lived out of state, so it was really hard to ultimately decide to purchase the house, but Laurie did a great job walking through all the properties for us, was very nitpicky and finding kind of the positives and the negatives. Even walked literally down the street in the neighborhood just to show us the general locality, because that was a big deal for us, especially with our daughter. We wanted to make sure it looked safe and like a good area to kind of raise our kid. And then when it came to the actual home buying process, she also has a really great like kind of Rolodex of contractors and people to turn to, whether it's inspectors. The house had termites actually, so she had 3 or 4 people that we could kind of compare between and see who would kind of meet our needs the best and get it done the quickest. So it was really nice that she also, besides her expertise in finding the house, also had all the necessary measures post, finding the house to help us lock down the deal. And then with regards to like negotiations and stuff, I mean,
that was
great.
awesome.
That was kind of more like your wheelhouse, but
Yeah, bouncing between 2 different ones, trying to find the right price, and just willing to do that. I think that could have been extraordinarily frustrating. We didn't actually really talk about it, but it was like, okay, we're gonna walk away from this deal, go to another one, and then a couple weeks later came back and just trying to find the right price, and she's no complaints. I can imagine that might have been annoying, but it worked out, and the relationship kind of sustained beyond the purchase. It wasn't like, okay, I got it, I'm out of here. Like we probably text about different questions in the area, and she's always willing to kind of help us know like what's going on. Again, we're new to the area, or introduce us to a contractor, or talk us through some of the stuff that can kind of linger after a close, and you're just kind of like, oh, what's this interesting law in the area? And she has the right.
Working with Laurie was a pleasure. Very helpful. It felt us made us feel at ease, basically.
Yeah.
Especially just not being from the Tampa area. She seems to just know this area. She's been here for a long time, and she was able to guide us right into where we wanted to be, and we love our house now. So
This could have been a complete disaster, and I think if we had worked with another agent, it probably had a higher likelihood of being a disaster. But Laurie is great, from her professionalness of poise and the ability to get us this beautiful house.